Hello folks, this is Bob out at Sorrento Hill. I'm up on a ladder. What I'm doing right now is I'm working on cordwood on the inside. I'm done with cordwood on outside walls because I've got a bunch of medium size and small logs that are dry, but my bigger logs that I wanted to put in that wall, they're only down around 20 to 22% moisture, and that's just not dry enough to put in the wall. So I'm done with outside walls until spring, so I've got it to a point where I'm satisfied with as far as closing it in, so we can start working on the interior and get in for the winter. It just means we won't have a guest bedroom until spring, but I think that'll be all right. So what I'm doing right now is I'm working on the inside, and I'm closing in between the top where I stopped at the top of the kitchen wall up to the bottom of the windowsill in the kitchen, and I got to go all the way across to where the laundry room wall starts. And then once I get this done, then I got to go to the other side and do the same thing in the living room, because what I did is I stopped with my logs just under, right up against this beam that goes underneath my windowsills, and then I filled with short logs on the outside so that I had it sealed off. I had it sealed off from the outside, and now I'm finishing that part on the inside. Reason I'm doing this right now is before too long I'll be having wall cabinets here, and I really don't want to be trying to do cordwood over cabinets. So I'll get this done, and I won't have to mess with this again. And so that'll be wrapped up. So what I'm doing, you'll see me disappear from time to time as I duck down to get some mortar, is just putting a bead of mortar, put some insulation, and then when I get up to about 1.5 inches or so from where my tape is at the bottom of this windowsill, then I put a layer of mortar on top. That way I can't have cats and bugs and critters getting into my insulation, and it'll be easier to clean. I just a vacuum with a wand on it and dust it off. So trying to get it wrapped up. And this morning I wrapped up, well, not wrapped up, but over the weekend I put, I think, what was it, Saturday, I put wood putty on the screw holes and some little knots and uneven spots, gaps, uneven spots, and like in my window box that's in the laundry room. And so today I sanded that and wiped it down. I always wipe it down with a damp rag when I get finished sanding it, and then put the first coat of paint on it. A couple hours or so here, that first layer of paint should be dry, and then I'll put the second coat of paint on it. And once that dries, second coat of paint dries, why, I will go ahead and put put that window in the laundry room. And then as soon as I get all this cordwood done up underneath the windows, sorry, I keep disappearing on you. Once I get all this cordwood done underneath the windows, then I will I'll get that window in, and then I'll have yet another thing checked off. And I can start on the living room, get that done. And again, I just want to get that done before we get in, because the more I have done before we get in, the less I'm having to do. I really didn't want to do cordwood over and around furniture and on nice floors and stuff like that. So trying to get that all done before we start moving in. And I tell you, the Farmer's Almanac said we were going to have a really cold and snowy winter. And so I guess that cold and snow is holding off for now, because I was taking a look at my pictures from last year, and the last cordwood that I was able to do last year was the week before Thanksgiving, because we had so much cold weather and so many days where it was down in the 20s at night, and even some where it was freezing during the daytime. And that's just weather you can't do cordwood. So this year it's holding off. And since the cold is holding off, I'm able to do cordwood a lot longer than I was last year or even the year before. So that's really playing right into my hands. So it's working out nicely for me, and I'm enjoying it. It's still cold. It's cold and damp and kind of miserable. I'm going to have to buy me a new pair of boots, I guess, if I'm going to be doing any work outdoors. I stepped on a screw with my right boot and put a hole in it, and fortunately it just pricked my foot a little bit. It didn't even break the skin. But now when I'm back out there, we're doing mortar, and it's wet from where I've been washing out the mixer and all that. Why, it wicks up into my boot. And I guess I could try to find some shoe goo and plug it up, but maybe I should put in one of those plugs like you use in the tires. I've got one of those kits. That'd be kind of funny, wouldn't it? Do that while Deb is watching. Let her see me putting a plug in it like you would for a tire. That may not be a bad idea. Sounds like something crazy I would do. All right, so get my 2 beads of mortar. I still put 2 beads. All right, I still put 2 beads of mortar up here, just like when I'm doing a regular wall. It's just there's not as much space for insulation, but I do still insulate in between. And there's, on the outside, it's just solid, because it's only about 4.5 inches, so it's just a solid bead of mortar. But then there's this beam in between, and then I've got insulation here. So this will probably, I don't know, with the different layers, maybe that beam, since I don't have my logs up against the beam, there's a little air gap there. Maybe that won't transmit heat or cold too bad. But this is probably going to be the least insulated part of my house, but it's still got insulation thicker than you would have in a 2x4 wall. So even the least insulated portions, where I'd be most susceptible to heat or cold, to heat or cold loss, depending upon which season it is still better than any of my neighbors with their stick-built homes. So one of the trade-offs you do, right? All right. And this is the pain about this, is having to up and down and everything. And I've got me a pretty good selection of logs here to use. And I try to keep things as interesting as possible. And here we go. And again, it's just, you know, kind of picking them out and deciding what you want it to look like and what goes where. And these go a long ways because they're only about 8.5 inches long. So it doubles up the usage I get out of my logs, which is kind of nice. And I'm still using some half logs and the like in here. So again, that keeps it interesting. All right, so I've got those in there, and then now I just start with the next layer of cordwood, or the next layer of mortar, and putting some more pieces in so I can close it up, and it goes pretty fast. I think the thing that's the worst about this, though, is the up and down on the ladder. That's hard on the knees and the back, but oh well, what you gonna do? So, anyways, yeah, getting it finished up, and I don't know if it shows up or not, but I got my blue painter's tape on the window sill here so that I don't get mortar all over it. When I first started this, I was trying to be real careful and not get the mortar over, and then I saw on the Cordwood Construction Facebook page, I saw where somebody else was using painter's tape, and I thought, man, that's genius, because then you don't have to worry about having to be real be super picky, and I don't care how picky you are. You know, this mortar, you got it on your glove, you got it, and it just gets all over the place. And so the painter's tape is kind of nice. I don't have to be quite as picky. I don't have to worry about it so much. And then when I'm done, I just pull the painter's tape away, and boom, it's nice and clean and pristine. And it's so humid today. I got my mortar is a little thinner than I like it to be, and that's one of the interesting things about cordwood. You know, in mortar, any of you that have done mortar work or concrete work, cement work, know you can have a great formula, but the weather really affects what you're doing. It will really have an effect upon the mortar. So even though I try to measure as closely as I can, I still end up with some variations sometimes in the consistency of my batches of mortar. What you gonna do, right? And again, just putting the mortar on the back side of it so I can put some more logs on and put some insulation in, and then cover it up over the top. So I've been compiling my project list for the winter, the kinds of things I want to get done. I've got a bunch of trees that I got to cut down in the area where the garden's going to go. mostly oak. There's a couple smaller hickories, so I'll slab that up and have some hickory to use, which will be nice. And then of course getting the house where we can live in it, that's kind of an important thing. That's the whole point of all this, right? I dropped mortar where I shouldn't have dropped it. Oh well. Some of my logs are a little bit shorter than others, so I end up having to use more mortar behind them. So it won't go as far as I had hoped on this batch. Here I go again. I don't think I've ever shown on a video what I did for Debbie on when, 2 or 3 years ago. All I had was a roof. I don't think I even had my interior walls framed in yet. But what I did is I bought some Christmas tree lights and draped Christmas lights all around the roof line. So she came home from work one night. Oh, it's when she was working at her previous employer before they closed, and anyways, she come home at like 1:30 in the morning, and she actually woke me up because she was so excited because what I had done, because there were Christmas lights on the frame of the house, so I decorated it up. So I guess before the end of the day today, I'll plug the lights in and I'll show you guys what it looks like with the lights. 'Tis the season to decorate. All right, well, I'm gonna let's see, I'll put some insulation in here, and I've used all the mortar I have in my bucket, so I'm gonna have to go refill, and then when I use that up, I'll have to make me another batch. I'm hoping to go through about at least 3, hopefully 4 batches of mortar today to try to get as much of this done as I can. That'll get me finished underneath one set of windows, which is almost 8-foot wide section, and get started on the next section window, which also includes the space above the door, which is going to take some fancy footwork because I got a lot of wiring under there that I got to protect from mortar. All right, I got to go fill my bucket back up. All right, so as promised, there's a view. You can see what I got done today. It looks pretty good up to the top. I've got about enough mortar to mix one more batch of mortar, and then I'm going to have to get some more mortar mix, and that'll take me to the door frame and above it a little. And then, pardon me while I climb up here. As you can see, I have to tuck point what I just did. Got the mortar across the top. Yeah, I got the mortar across the top, and that'll provide a good way to keep cats and bugs and critters out of my wall and out of my insulation. And all right, so I told you I'd show you my Christmas lights. There they are, the house all decorated up for Christmas, such that it is. So far, all we've got is lights. When I put the front door on, I'm going to put a wreath on it. But I just thought it looked kind of nice to decorate it up a little bit. All right. It's almost dark. It's not even 5 o'clock yet, and it's getting too dark to see. But I got to go inside and finish tuck point the mortar that I just finished up. And then tomorrow morning, which will be Tuesday, but in the morning I'll go, hope I didn't make you too dizzy. I've got one coat of paint on that window box there. I'll put the second coat of paint on the window box. And then in the morning, and then I'll let that dry, and once it's dried up, I'll put that window in, and I can get these ladders out of the way. And then, boy, you can see how dark it gets inside here. Like I said, it's not even 5 o'clock yet, and how dark it's getting. That's kind of crazy. I'm not a real big fan of daylight savings time. But hey, only 19 more days, and then the days start getting longer, so we get that to look forward to. At any rate, this is Bob out here at Serenity Hill. Thanks for stopping by and checking out our videos. Hope you enjoyed that a little bit today. And that's where we are. Just cranking along cordwood window boxes and trying to get this thing done so we can close in. And I can do one more batch of mortar tomorrow, and then I've got to make a trip to Menards to get some more mortar mix because I'll be out. And that'll be the last of the mortar last bag of mortar that I'll buy for 2023, because that'll carry me through to get done what I need inside here. And no more cordwood until after this living room's done. No more cordwood until 2024. All right, thanks for stopping by. We'll talk at you later. Have a good one. And don't be afraid to get out there and do something you've never done before and make your dreams happen. Talk to you later.